everyone, welcome. I am DEJI360 and thank you very much for joining us. Now, as we move closer to 2015, that's the 2015 election, which of course INEC has said will be taking place in February. It appears it's not going to be an easy task at all to pass the 2014 budget, and the reason is just simple. The lawmakers are beginning to become partisan in the way they debate issues, and there's no question at all that if this continues to drag on for long, it will take some time before the budget is passed. Not just the budget now, anything at all that comes up in the National Assembly will definitely assume a very partisan nature, and that we're not going to get very quality debates now that will be in the interest of the people. Now, why exactly am I saying this? The reason is simple. Something happened in the Senate this week, and last week I should say, and of course it was that debate over the 2014 budget. We want you to take a look at the way the debate went in the Senate, and when we come back we'll be dissecting this issue of the whole partisan nature the debate over the budget is assuming. Let's take a look at this.
Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, the founder of Okonjonomics, is saying no to Nigerians. But let me give Nigerians the good news. There is hope in the horizon. Amen. The medicine is there, Mr. President. That medicine is a compound mixture of aspirin, palacetin, and caffeine.
I have this to read, Mr. President. Just listen, distinguished colleagues. Presidential amnesty program, and my brothers here, nobody should feel I'm not for amnesty. I am for it 100%, even more. Presidential amnesty program, 23.6 billion. Reintegration of ex-militants, 35.4 billion. Total, 59 billion. While total budget for the Nigerian Army is 4.8 billion. Ministry of Defense headquarters, that includes Army, Navy, Air Force, 34 billion. Mr. President, are we serious? We're not serious. Excuse me please. The ex-militants are only 30,000. How many people are in the Nigerian Army, Nigerian Navy, Nigerian Air Force? I'm not saying we shouldn't give them. We should give them. But we must fund the security personnel properly. Mr. President, I believe that the burden that we carry in our state is something that you are aware of, and most people here are aware. Now, we have in this proposal 2 billion naira, 2 billion, 2 billion for Northeast Development Initiative. We reject that. We reject that. We are not taking anything like that. And let me read this for the benefit of my brothers and sisters from the Niger Delta. I have nothing against anybody. But listen to this. Listen to this. 61.94 billion statutory allocation to the NDDC. 61.94. Statutory. 49.193 billion to the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs. Not especially the multiplicity of allocation of East-West Road, totaling 22 billion. Mr. President, a total of 163.13 billion is going. I support that. We give them, but we must fund the Northeast to recuperate, to be rehabilitated, to make our lives better.
Ahmed Lawan of APC. I am very impressed with APC, and I think that what they are doing is very good. So when we have something that is good, let us copy from the people that are doing the good thing. APC has done something good, and let us copy from APC. Thank you. Mr. President, sometime 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, the APC government in Rivers State passed a budget in 1 hour and gave back everything to the governor. And so let us copy from APC and pass this budget and give it to
Well, that was the debate in the Senate over the budget. Now, I'm going to tell you why we decided to play that soundbite for to serve as, you know, to precede our discussion here. So I'm now being joined on the program by two gentlemen. Biodun Shoumi is a political affairs analyst, and I also have Chukwemeka who's a political affairs analyst as well as a lawyer. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming on the program. I'm happy. Let me start with you. Show me. You saw you saw that soundbite. Now, the reason I played that, I want us to peek the soundbite of Ahmed Lawan. That's the man who spoke about you know, what is going to the Niger Delta and all of that. It would have, of course, he's of the APC. It would appear he has a very strong point, but now put his point now side by side that of Senator Baribe and the man who spoke before. I mean, you find it difficult. So it appears what we are seeing now is that, you know, partisanship is beginning to take hold in the Senate. People, it's not likely that we're going to see very dispassionate debates that will affect, you know, the interest of Nigerians. So it means the outcome of the debate over this budget might not be, you know, as dispassionate as would want it to be.
Yeah, that's quite right. When you actually examine what Lawan said carefully, you also see
there's a merit in it.
There's a merit. I mean, you can't.
Surprisingly, they're not talking about it.
They're not talking about it. It's quite clear that he has points. You know, he has his issues with the budget, which are valid. The other side to it is he's also talking about the duplicity of the federal government in handling insurgency, you know, more or less comparing what is happening in Niger Delta to how they are dealing with the issue of Northeast. You know, that's where... I mean,
he said something very important. Development initiative in the Northeast,
yes, 2 billion. And in Niger Delta, that's right. So he's actually highlighting one thing, that the federal government is not putting enough resources, one, to develop Northeast, and two, not equipping the Nigerian armed forces with the necessary tools to fight insurgency, while at the same time appropriating a lot of resources, you know, to Niger Delta, which he clearly said, look, he supported that militants should be reintegrated. But what about us? That's one major issue which I think we could hold on to that. The other issue you will see from this other submission by the PDP senator, it's he was more or less making a sarcastic remark about if they can pass a budget in 1 hour in Rivers, why can't we pass it? But what happened in Rivers is totally different. They were operating under a different climate. An high court has ordered that the legislature should be allowed to commence sitting, but the police commissioner, Yumbu, you know, decided, for reasons best known to him, that he would not allow that to happen. And they tried to meet and they were disrupted. They went to government house, they were tear gassed. So there was no way they would stay in government house for a long time to consider the budget.
What is quite surprising is that, you know, a senator would even raise that on the floor of the Senate to say, look, why not let's just pass this budget the way they did it in River State? I mean, as if to say what happened in River State, it's okay. And then you also have the other lawmaker from the APC promoting General Buhari's interests right there in the Senate, you know, calling for the removal of the
Finance
Minister of Finance.
I think the chickens have come home to roost, because for a long time, a lot of foundation have been laid for what is happening. You recall a time some people in the name of New PDP, who are now in APC, were moving around retired generals. I found it bizarre. I saw it as a means of activating. I just want to let you know where we are now. The foundation had been laid. So the ways politicians have decided to go this time around, you know, they know that you don't give power, you take it. So the desperation in the political circuit is playing out. And when one finger licks the oil, definitely others will be affected. There is time for everything. We are getting close to a major election. And for the first time, we are having two parties standing on equal almost.
But the question is, should that begin to affect what happens in the
now
Senate?
You want to take power desperately from me, and I want to withhold it desperately.
We also saw in the House of Representatives yesterday, when they were amending the Constitution, there was this item to be amended to make it easier to impeach the president of the country. And we saw a situation where the PDP members in the House of Reps all rallied round and opposed that amendment clause. I mean, and unfortunately, that clause could not sail through. But if you looked at it dispassionately, yes, the clause was sponsored by an APC member. But, you know, you may have a PDP president today. Supposing you have an APC president in power tomorrow and the APC president is not doing well and you want to impeach him. These members, through their partisan nature of voting, they've denied the country the opportunity to be able to remove a bad president or a bad governor in a way that is easier than what it is now.
Yeah, you know, it's strange because when you actually look at what is going on in Nigeria, politicians are no longer governing, you know, in the interest of the people anymore. What we see now is pure election campaigning or trying to sidestep each other or trying to wrong-foot each other going on. The national interest is not being considered at the moment, because if you look at the fact that one of the major problems we have had in this country, you know, with our presidents, including the sitting president currently, is the issue of impunitous behavior, including the governors, you know, behaving, you know, with total disregard for the well-being of the people, or thinking they can get away with anything because they can't be removed. Now, they are trying to make the process simpler in a way that will curb impunitous behavior.
That's what I thought.
It's not about the sitting president or the sitting governors. Even future presidents and governors will be affected. That may come from any party.
Mr. Eze, do you think eventually we're going to have a bipartisan you know, a sort of bipartisan agreement now on this budget? Don't forget the fact that the APC too has called on its lawmakers not to, you know, not to cooperate in the passage, even though they say they're going to participate. Do you think it will be easier? Do you see a difficult day ahead for the budget in the National Assembly?
I see a difficult day ahead, but the elite, they know where they meet. When they draw it and they discover that they've played all the tricks, they'll come back and pass it. Beyond that, the issue you raised about, I beg to disagree that that process would have benefited only PDP. I mean the process of...
I feel... No, I'm saying it would have probably benefited the whole country. Not
I know. I don't mean the budget. I mean
the
this
impeachment,
issue of the impeachment.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know that if we don't have a rigid impeachment procedure, that Amechi would have been removed by now?
That's also a point.
So let me tell you, the fact that it was supported by PDP notwithstanding, it is better we have a rigid process. In fact, that was why Ngige was there until removed by the court. If the president doesn't like your face, and these safeguards are not there, overnight you'll be removed. With all due respect, the fact that it will favor PDP today, it will equally favor APC. That non-removal of safeguards. So, be that as it may, as for this budget, I have over time studied our elite. They will make noise, make noise, make noise. Give them 2 months. Even in the best of times, budgets have been passed in April.
We're going to take a short break here, and when we come back, we'll be discussing the APC directive now on its lawmakers. Some people have described that directive as unpatriotic, and some have even gone to the extent of saying it could anger the military and even cause a military coup. Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on DEJI360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions. Welcome back. Now, not quite long ago, the APC issued a directive to all its lawmakers to cease cooperating on executive bill in both the House of Representatives and the Senate until the president did something to arrest the political crisis in Rivers State. Well, the crisis to some extent, should I say, has been arrested. At least for the first time now, the Rivers State governor and his supporters have been able to organize a rally. They did that not quite long ago, and that was, of course, after the APC issued that directive. But then, when the APC issued that directive, a lot of lawmakers, especially from the PDP, the Accord Party, of course, all the other opposition political parties in the country, they all came together, especially in the National Assembly. They came together to condemn the action of the APC. Let's take a listen to what a group that calls itself the Unity Group in the House of Representatives said. Now, this group is composed of members of the PDP, Accord Party, ABGA, Labour Party, and some other smaller parties in the House of Representatives. Take a listen to what the group said.
If this budget is not passed soon, there will be hunger in the land. An APC plan for anarchy would have succeeded, God forbid.
Well, there you heard the member. He said if the budget is not passed soon, there will be anarchy and hunger in the land. Well, let's just hope the budget is passed next week, as a matter of fact, and that it doesn't get to April or even February. Because, as I said, if it's true that if the budget is not passed very soon, there will be hunger in the land, then I can just say there's already hunger in the land. But the APC, of course, has been justifying its position. Let's take a listen to the APC spokesman now, giving reasons why it made that decision to ask its lawmakers not to cooperate on every executive bill that comes to the House and, of course, the Senate.
Are the lives and properties of the people of Rivers State less important than the budget of Nigeria? If the budget of Nigeria is passed and there's no stability in Nigeria, of what use is that budget? We are saying that what is happening in Rivers State could lead to absolute and total anarchy, and it might spread from Rivers to other states and might consume Nigeria. And people are saying that the common man will suffer. Are you saying that the president will continue to allow the right of impunity to, in Rivers State? Are you saying now that the danger to the economy, to Nigeria's stability, is the budget and not the issue in Rivers State? Are you now saying that we should close our eyes to what's happening in Rivers State and just go ahead with the budget as if nothing is happening?
Mr. let me just get your reaction to that. This whole issue. And people are saying this could lead to disintegration of the country could break up, hunger and all of that. Are we not pushing this too far?
I'm not new to hearing this. There's always, if you get back to past the other day I checked past publications, and since 1983 that I've been so...
We just might be making a mountain out of a mountain.
That is it. Since 1983, I've been hearing that the country is about disintegrating, the country will disintegrate. It had never disintegrated, and it may never disintegrate. So, but I just want to get... Politicians are ready to say anything to grab power. That call is so bogus. That is to say, I can't see the bus stops in the call. Perhaps...
No, but there is a bus stop because it says until the president does something to arrest the situation.
Now the president has done it because you have acknowledged that Save Rivers movement has held successfully.
Exactly. So could we then say so the president now decided to do something because the APC issued that threat?
Certainly. That threat, except for the fact that it's so bogus, I love that threat because I have been wondering why Rivers State should be in the way it is. I see grassroots democratic initiative. Hold its rally, boast, make a lot of noise. Then when it's time for Rivers State movement, it is then that the Commissioner of Police will find a fault either in the application or in something else. So I like fair treatment.
People saying it could lead to disintegration, break up, unpatriotic and all of that.
The fact of the matter is we are practicing presidential system of government.
Which is true.
Filibustering, which is what the APC is threatening to do.
That we also saw in this United States Senate.
Look, that's where I'm going. It's an essential part of a democratic system. Look, go back into history. When Gerald Ford was there, between Gerald Ford and Jimmy Carter's regime, there were 7 government shutdowns over budget. After that, you had under Bush Sr., under Clinton, Bush Jr., the latest being Obama, just October 1st to I think 19th or 17th, over Obamacare, which is healthcare for the poor, because the Republicans said no, our party stands for the rich, and therefore they decided to shut down the government of America. It's a legitimate tool, and then it allows for negotiation. We should not forget one thing. I sympathize with those calling for filibustering, because so far the presidency has failed to respond to the issue of the crisis in Rivers State. You have a sitting governor, who is the chief security officer of the state, and you have a commissioner of police who is saying, look, I will not allow the legislature to meet, even when the High Court order the legislature to meet. Not only that, do not forget the fact that the House of Reps also called for the removal of this commissioner of police, and so many eminent Nigerians have called, for the removal of this commissioner of police, but that is not happening. So at a point, it will come to a head, because how do you ensure the rule of law? Don't forget, in Rivers State, we've had a senator shot, Magnus Abe, who is receiving treatment. Had to be flown outside the country. We've had the chief of staff of the governor, shot at. We've had the government house in Rivers State already tear gas. So we are approaching chaos already. So something has to be done.
What for me is worrying is when I hear, for instance, the Labour Party, for instance, saying, the Labour Party chairman actually said that that it could anger the military and could even cause a military coup. No, so we can't have a government shutdown here, even on principle.
Beyond that, we have this poor sense of comparison. Nigeria is just 53 years old as an independent country. Filibustering did not occur within the first 450 years in American history.
But it could happen now.
Go evolutionary process. It's too early in the day.
No, but what I'm saying,
I love that directive, except for its bogus nature, because I felt like giving timeline, that this time to this time this will happen. If you don't do this from this time to this time, we will do this, so that the government will know that if it doesn't do this to this time, this is, Nigerians can follow up. Stage 1, scene 2, scene 3. Beyond that, I think it's too early in the day to begin to practice everything the United States.
No.
With due respect.
How do you deal with a president that behaves, impunitously?
And in any case, should we now begin to practice democracy the way it was practiced from 250 years ago?
They're asking for gay rights. That means we should equally go for everything they do.
We should not forget one thing, that there is no time in the last 5 years that our budget has been passed before March, and last year it was June without filibustering. Last year it was June that the budget was passed.
Then how
so
in any case, the lawmakers saying there will be hunger in the land in the budget?
There will be no hunger, because the law allows them to spend 50%. Look, let me tell you what the problem is. Let me tell you what they mean by hunger. The law allows them to spend 50% of the budget until the budget is passed. Just like what happens in 2011, where we spent 17% more on recurring, because the federal government increased funding by 17%, and the capital expenditure released last year was only 30%.
Total recurrence is about 72 now.
No, it's about 74%.
About 74%. 74%.
Beyond that, this picture, we need a bigger picture, because many people in the private sector plan their expenditures based on the national budget. So they will actually be hunger in the land. But the hunger will not be arising because of APC directive. It will be arising because they will do the things they have always done, passing the budget so late, so that the first quarter expenditure does not run with the budget. So you end up passing the budget April, even in the absence of filibustering. So the whole hula about filibustering.
Did you check? Have you checked last year's? Have you checked last year's budget? Check last year's budget performance. We only had 50% performance. The recurrent is almost 100%, but capital expenditure was only 30%.
The minister says 64%.
No. But factor in the capital expenditure, which was 30%.
We run a budget in for civil servants and politicians.
So, gentlemen, I have to thank you very much for your contribution. Thank you. Unfortunately, we haven't got the time. It's a 30 minutes program. I'm still going to bring you back. Thank you very much, Chukwemeka Eze, for your time, and thank you very much, Biodun for your time and contribution. Well, that's it on the program. We want to thank you very much for watching. We're back again next week. I am DEJI360. See you then.